How wholesome.
It's so weird to not hear
Good old-fashioned intro, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
good.
Pretty unspooky of us, eh?
Aww.
It's over.
It's all over.
Hey, there's
Can
a
I
little
say-
part that's left.
Oh yeah, there's the red hands
That's
that will probably
true.
be there.
Well, be with
Until
us
next
forever.
Halloween.
Well,
I'll
welcome
say-
to, you want me to just start the show real quick?
You got it.
Welcome back to What the Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
Together we are
Ryan and John.
on the couch, as always, producer Cara Philly and the lovely Annie Skovman. You know her from Growing Pains with Annie.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And now you know her from What the Podcast.
Yeah, and if you listened to our episode this week, you heard all of us on her show.
Oh, yeah.
You sure
True.
did.
Which I guarantee Jacob did text me.
I knew it.
And
I knew he would.
he's getting married this weekend.
Woo.
So he's
And-
pissed. He needed a good
Oh.
old-fashioned
He's kind of
episode.
upset.
And he,
Oh, no.
I got a very angry text.
He's kind of
Which
upset.
was, I
When I'm
waited
to be
2
wed.
weeks for a 6-minute episode. It's the week of my wedding.
Dang.
You
Well, he's
should
not
have
wrong.
him on.
Wow.
I mean, he's not
Hey.
incorrect.
He wouldn't come on, would
You
he?
wouldn't come on.
He wouldn't dream of it.
Prove me wrong, Jacob. Come on my podcast.
Oh.
I do appreciate Jacob. He listens to a lot of all of our stuff, which is nice. I think he watches What the Podcast.
He watched most of the live hour. What?
If I remember,
25 hours.
Live hour.
Oh, you know why he does watch the show? Because I was talking to Brinley, because Brinley watched the show for a long time without him. She was like, "I'm trying to get him into What the Podcast." He's just like not getting into it. And then we were late on a couple weeks ago, and Brinley texted me. She's like, "Where's the episode? Jacob just binged the whole entire show in the last 2 weeks, and
No.
now you guys are late on a Friday." And I was like, "Thank you for
He
watching."
put a 40-hour week into our show. I mean, that's incredible.
Listen, he's dedicated.
well,
He wakes up early and he works.
He's
I
a
don't
good
know
guy.
what he does, but
Well,
he does things.
all that to say is this show would be nowhere without its fans. So we thank you for
True.
listening. And
Yeah,
this is our final episode. So
50. It's episode 50.
Imagine that's just how you ended it. Wow, my gosh. Thanks.
Well,
Thanks for
thanks.
listening. This
All
is where
right.
we end
Well,
it.
that's it.
Goodbye.
The stupid gnat has made its way over to me.
I know. I tried to kill it.
bug
I'm
in
gonna
the
be honest with
studio.
you. I've been dealing with that net all day in here. I can't find it.
The
I
same
can never
one?
catch it. Yeah, it's
the
been
intro
my all my
definitely
girl.
has just footage of me just like hitting my chest, trying to
little
kill
rascal.
Wondering what you were doing over there.
That little rascal.
I'll be honest. I am sad that Halloween's over.
Well,
Yeah. A little bit.
so a question for you. Where do you fall on the has Christmas season started for you?
Well, that's a good question. The internet is really kind of
Reeling
splitting
about it.
They're kind of splitting sides here, you know, because people are saying that you do Christmas, you save like 3 days for Thanksgiving,
Yes.
and then you do Christmas again.
Oh.
Honestly,
I don't buy it. You know what? I think it's its own thing.
really.
Thanksgiving time. I mean, it's not really even focused on Thanksgiving. It's like pre-Christmas, you know?
Yeah. Can I tell you something that maybe is a little controversial?
You may.
If we decided, like, as a society that Thanksgiving is no longer tomorrow, wouldn't be affected. I wouldn't even be sad.
Wow. If Thanksgiving were to not exist.
Yeah. I mean, what it used to be for me was like a real reflection time. I used to be like, oh, like, what am I thankful for? I'm so lucky to have all these people in my life. But now that's kind of Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do that more
Sure.
during Christmas time because I'm like, I'm older now. I know as a kid, it was all about like presents, you know? And now I'm older and I'm like, when all my family's in the room and we're like hanging out on Christmas Eve, I'm like, this is where it's at, you know? But I guess Thanksgiving's an extension.
I'm with you. I think it is like the day after Halloween until New Year's Day, I get like that.
Yeah.
Just like weirdly sentimental and reflective. And now it's going to be worse because we're getting married on, November 19th. It's like
so exciting.
in that season of just
17
emotions. 17 days away.
Yeah,
When this drops, 14 days away.
Oh.
Whoa, 2 weeks.
That's a lot.
All that to
honestly.
say. So we're in a season now
Yeah.
of limbo. I
This
don't know.
season for me it's kind of like Halloween continued you just take away all the spooky decorations, but you keep the pumpkins, you keep like the
Harvest.
fall leaves. Yeah. Like my dad put away all the Halloween stuff, but my mom sets up a huge like hay bale with pumpkins and leaves anyways.
Yeah.
You just take away all the little spooky and
Yeah, I think
it's November.
it's Christmas all the way for me. Like from here out. Because I feel like we don't get enough Christmas. And Christmas time is so crazy, especially that December run from like 1 to 25. You're just like going on like you have work, and then you're like also have all these celebrations where you're hanging out with friends and work parties, and then you blink and it's like over, and then we're like, oh, countdown for Christmas next week.
Yep.
It's like gone.
Yep.
So I say it starts now. I think we should take every minute of November to enjoy Christmas, because also we've had a heck of a year, if I can say so.
Yeah,
so
for
we
sure.
deserve a little more Christmas this year. That's what I think.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's kind of interesting that you bring up like what the season means to you. What do you think this season in particular is like gonna bring new to you? Because like you said, like it's been heck of a 2 years, really.
Heck of
What do you think's like really coming down the pipe for you?
That's tough.
It's a big question, and I don't really
think-
have a direction with it.
Here's
but-
what I'll say. I don't know that there's anything new coming, but I'm very excited for the next, I would say end of year, beginning of next year, because one, the end of my year is just like all my friends are getting married, which
Yes.
is so cool. And like, I was even reflecting the other day, and I was like, gosh, how cool is it that like everyone's getting married? We're in that phase of life.
Yes.
That like I used to think about being like, oh, someday I'll get married and my friends will get married and we'll just like all be like getting married and having a good time. And this is it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Which is so weird to me. But so I think there isn't anything new in the next like season, next block. I just think it's gonna be a lot of like me just trying to be like take in the moment, because like this is the time of your life where you like we're kind of always looking forward to, and now it's happening. Because I'm also getting married in May,
You are.
which is so insane.
Right.
And like Jordan comes home in December, so it's like everything is just going to be so much. I think it's going to be more of a season of like getting back to normal a little bit,
Yeah.
and also starting a new chapter. It's like a weird transition period for me.
That's kind of why I brought it up, because it's this really strange lately for me, like duality of really positive and hopeful for the future, and really kind of bleak negative view of like where the world is lately.
Yeah,
And maybe that's not even a reflection of my life as much as like just this reminder whenever you turn on the news, whenever you crack on social media. But I think there is this like desire for positivity, like this desire for like, hopefulness. I don't know what it is. And maybe it is just that like end of the year, end of the season feeling in people, but
Yeah, I think I have that duality, that, and also I'm really excited for 2022. Not even just because I'm getting married, but just because like I really feel like at my core that something is going to shift for us.
Sure.
And whether it be for this podcast or for just like business or just like, community and friends, I just feel like there's something momentous coming. And maybe that's ambitious of me.
yes.
It probably is, but I think
But I don't.
No,
I don't think that's
manifest,
unwarranted.
manifest.
Yeah, I think there's something
we-
to that. We've talked about on the show
we
before.
talked about it last
Manifest
week.
your mindset, right?
And that's why I was kind of iffy about it when we were actually talking about it last week. And then, we were joking and we like wrote all these
2022
things
year
all
of Hype House.
on the whiteboard in here. And it was like, we were having a good time and we were just like joking, obviously. But then
No,
my
that's
brother's
true.
like, my brother came in this week and he's like, 2022 Hype House? What does that mean? And I was like, honestly,
Don't read into it.
Okay, so for the listeners, the viewers, we scrawled on the whiteboard 2022 Hype House, 2023 Albright Con, 2024 Where Are They Now? So that's a progression of next year is the year that we make it, right?
Yeah,
We're-
it's
we're
the
in
year where
media.
we make a Hype House.
2023 is the year where we sell out.
Yeah.
We make
It's-
so big that we're just like these
Albright Con is going to be like VidCon and whatnot.
just a hollow shell of our former selves.
And it's
truly.
And then
a
2024
live event.
we slip into obscurity.
Yeah.
And then, we have a,
yeah, we
a
just have like a
documentary.
2-year situation and then we just make
Ken
enough money to
Burns.
where we never have to work again.
then
And we
they-
just kind of like,
They call the documentary about us like like hell of a ride or something.
Hell
Like,
of a ride. Hey, hell of a ride.
And it's like that Jonas Brothers documentary where they're all talking about how well like Joe and Nick are doing. Then they're like, "What happened to Kevin?" He's like at the grocery store.
That documentary was pretty
He's
good.
like, I have
So
kids.
good.
I missed it.
I thought it was going to be kind of cheesy, and to some degree it kind of was, but it was more substance than I bargained
I honestly,
for.
I had a lot of emotions afterwards after watching.
So what it was,
What's going
it was
on with those guys? Because are they doing like a roast of themselves now?
Yes.
Did you see that?
So, yeah.
It's gonna be
I
on
didn't see
Netflix.
I saw a commercial.
Oh,
It was
really?
like the roast of the Jonas Brothers, but like they were like hyping it up, like, "Hey, we're gonna roast ourselves." I was really
that's
confused.
interesting. But when they relaunched,
It wasn't
a couple
really
of
roasting
years
themselves.
ago,
It was roasting them like their brothers,
Oh,
like
each other.
each other.
well, when they relaunched a couple of years ago, I remember it was like a big deal.
When they
came
got
out with
back
their
together.
album.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like was it the Jonas Brother Instagram that started?
Yes. Well, because the page started and with one post,
Oh, so good.
and it was just, or no, it didn't even have a post. It was just the account that was made.
You know,
and everyone was like, Jonas Brothers.
Can I
Jonas
tell you
Brothers are
that the outside of the box marketing that people are doing now
Yeah.
is so cool.
Oh, you
Like-
have to just be that now. Because if you're not doing something weird, like it's just white noise at this point, right? Like,
Yeah, so the documentary, not to get too far
Yeah.
off path, basically was like about them getting back together, and they had like this real, I don't know how real it was, but
Well,
it seemed real.
They talked about like why they broke up and
Yeah.
almost like the family tension that happened.
They sat down with
during
like
that
drinks,
time.
and they had these pre-made cards that were like, "Tell me something that you never told anybody else," whatever.
they were
and
doing
like,
pod decks.
yeah. But it was
Podcast,
like,
by the way.
I felt like it was kind of fabricated, but in the best way, because it was questions that like everyone was wondering, and
Yeah.
obviously things that like they had gone through. And I didn't
Sure.
even know that Nick has diabetes, but
Oh, yeah.
that was a
Oh,
whole
my gosh.
storyline.
You didn't know that?
And all that. I didn't know that. I
Okay,
had no
keep in
idea.
mind we were girls.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember
Did
this.
you hear
This was
that
a
Nick
thing.
has
No,
diabetes?
it was
Girls
like
and
a
Brian.
thing. I remember like a thing on Disney Channel.
Yeah,
where
they
he
have
was
like a
all about
commercial.
it.
Yeah, he's like, I've got diabetes, but like I'm still a rock
Yeah.
star.
Wasn't
Well,
there part of that
That was my
commercial where
Nick
he
Jonas.
like
I
just
remember that.
goes
Yeah,
into
he's
an
like,
ambulance?
got to put in my insulin because I'm a rock star with diabetes.
Well, it was just interesting
This
because
whole
I thought a lot of
Right.
it.
Right.
I thought a lot of it was. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a fair amount of machine that happens with
Yes.
the Jonas Brothers, but I did find out that Nick did write a lot of those songs, which is pretty impressive for
That
the
they
age that
started
he's
on
at.
Broadway for the majority, like
Yeah.
Nick and
Oh
Joe
yeah,
both
and they
were on
started as
Broadway.
like this band. Like they just literally
Oh, yeah.
before they had the Disney stuff.
Sure.
They just started as like a brothers band, and they were like made their own tour. They kind of like actually did, like put in the work
Well,
a little
it
bit.
is thank goodness to their parents because their parents. I mean, their dad was a
They put in
pastor.
all their
but
money,
before
right?
Then, Before then, their parents were both into music.
It's pretty
The whole thing.
convenient, man.
Didn't their dad own a studio?
Yeah,
No.
something like that.
That was
I heard he
Taylor
was a
Swift's
pastor.
dad.
He was a
No.
pastor, but he
Oh.
he had something to do
Yeah.
with music before.
But
then.
anyways, all that to say, the documentary is actually I think pretty good because I always thought the Jonas Brothers were like meh. Like I never, I knew of them obviously,
well,
but
I'm glad you finally got educated.
yeah, I was really
Check
thoroughly
yourself.
educated on that.
Thank you. I
But yeah.
really like their new music.
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
It's good.
It's it's
Which
really
I
good.
mean, they were producing. I mean, besides Kevin, because he wasn't really doing the music
what a
stuff.
He's a
loser.
dad.
But like Nick and Joe individually were producing good
Oh, yeah.
music, and so
Yeah.
it made sense. that
DNC.
they got
Well,
it back together.
And there was this real like moment in the documentary where they talk about where Kevin kind of fell off, and that was because like Kevin was just the guitar player essentially, and he like kind of like wasn't taking it seriously, and they like didn't know how to tell him that he wasn't as good as he used to be, and I was like, dang, that is so awkward because like in the industry, I imagine you just if you're not family with them, you're just like later,
Hey, mate,
see ya.
You don't call it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But your brothers and that whole
was Harry
awkwardness, and then him talking about how they
Thanks, I
like
didn't.
Yeah.
it was a real emotion.
Hey, what? Hey, Bob.
Hey, bro.
You're not so good in it.
Who's this character?
It's Harry Styles.
Been
Did
a
you
little
not-
slack off.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Well, and then
Bring a
like
right tool.
I think nowadays, and I feel like I've mentioned this on the podcast multiple times, but now on TikTok, Kevin's blowing up, and they're like, "Remember when I used to be in love with Nick?" And now it's like it cuts to a picture of Kevin nowadays. They're like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Good, Kevin's
He's the
finally
dad.
getting the love He deserved.
And they're making millions. I mean, they were back then, but they definitely are now.
He tried to have when Kevin tried to have a reality TV show.
Yes,
Kevin,
yes.
not a good
Well, that
idea,
was
bro.
I watched
Not a
it.
good
attention
idea.
too, because they were like, you know, they were doing their own music, Joe and Nick, and they're like, we don't really want to be around like cameras all the time. And of course, like, you know, his contract was like everyone has to be filmed kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So strange. And I think that's weirdly, I'm going to connect it back to like where the culture is
Yeah.
so like, give us back we're the Jonas Brothers these days. Like digging for something like deep within
Wholesome.
ourselves that's still like good.
Well,
you
it's
know,
like-
a part of it is like just the nostalgia train of
Yeah.
like, remember the Jonas Brothers? But it's also like, yeah, remember the Jonas Brothers? Like, remember they're still there. What are they doing now? Oh, they've grown up with the times. You know,
Yeah.
now they're all older and
Still on tour.
growing
And-
with their audience. So it's like,
The documentary and album, like first comeback album, was so genius because one, there was a crowd of people, which I imagine is a lot of people that just liked the Jonas Brothers, remember them, and wanted to see them again.
Yes.
But then there was like me, where I had never really had an interest. Like I knew their music, but never really liked them. Which I imagine I'm not alone on that.
Sure.
But the documentary made me connect with them so much.
growing
because,
a different appreciation.
yeah,
for
because
them.
hearing them talk and like at the end, there's like this so sentimental moment where Kevin's like, you know, my daughter's never gotten to see me on stage with my brothers. Like I grew up doing that.
Wow.
And he's like, and now my daughters get to see me doing what I love with their uncles, my brothers. And I was like, you've got me. Like you've sold me.
Totally.
I'm
me on
just
the
so
heart.
in
And
now.
that's, and that's as simple as like diversifying your audience right there.
Yeah, they
Like,
did a lot. I think they did a smart move with that because
Totally.
again, if they just relaunched, I'd been like,
if they were
oh,
like
that's
just
cool.
back to like teeny bopper, like
Yeah.
Like
heartthrob
Jonas
boy
Brothers,
band, it's
back
like
together
yeah,
again.
old hat. a
And the
little
way
bit.
that they did it was just so genius. Like
Yep.
again, like just dropping that first song out of nowhere, like no prep,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
like dropped, and everyone was like, "The Jonas Brothers are back together." What?
Yep.
Well, and what's interesting, they had an
So
aspect
cool.
of the documentary that talked about their marketing when they were first famous, and it was the fact that they were on YouTube and they were like they were just making these little behind the scenes, basically the equivalent of TikToks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they were like the first band to really be doing it because
Yeah.
they were the
Remember
age
YouTube?
of their listeners.
yeah. Wow.
Don't worry,
Well,
Ryan,
and the
you'll get there one
marketing-
day.
It's
I
dead.
do want to talk about.
I
marketing.
realize the medium's dead. All right.
Medium-
Year
No,
of
it's
yes.
not.
2022 is the year of
Whoa.
one TikTok every day.
All right.
Well, that's
That's
kinda
a lot.
104 TikToks
That's
a day.
that's too much.
364,000
Too much.
TikToks a day.
A
A
day.
year.
A day. No, one day.
I want to talk about marketing because I saw something today, and maybe you've seen it.
Okay.
And I thought it was a really cool album rollout. I don't know who it was, but it was this like female artist, and I think it was maybe in multiple locations or very few, but she had her album on a
Yeah.
hard drive, and it was encased in like a glass
Bulletproof
box, bulletproof glass
glass,
box,
yep.
and there was a hammer that was like tied to that was kind of the hard part. It was tied to the box, so you couldn't get like a good swing. But if you could break the hard drive out of the box, you got the album early before the
Where was
release
this?
date
Like
in New York.
LA?
That's
Oh,
a
okay.
New York,
York.
thing.
I can't
Yeah.
remember. I remember
Performance
seeing
art.
that, and it was.
I hate that
It was.
crap.
They would
God,
keep
New
it
York
in.
is
So funny. I thought
They
it was
went
cool.
to a couple different cities.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they
who
would
is this?
keep it.
Let me
I
check
don't
it out.
remember her name. They would keep
I'll
it
just
in a
look up
city for
music
like
in a box.
2 days, and if they couldn't get it,
and
they
it
moved
moved.
In a
it.
box.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it's just genius because it draws a crowd,
Oh, yeah,
right?
so
and
smart.
and it's like you're not even paying aside for paying for obviously the situation. Like all these people are of course Snapchatting it and like
Yep.
sharing it because they're like, look at this. Like if I break the box, I get blah blah blah. It's a new album.
Summer
And somebody
Walker.
finally did.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yep.
Summer Walker.
I don't know who she is, but I
Me
mean,
neither.
hey, she got my attention a
There
little
she
bit
is.
at least.
Where did
There you
they
go,
break
Summer.
it? Was it in Atlanta?
Um,
I
Does it
remember
say?
that at the end though, the glass was just like it wasn't glass. I think it was plexiglass
It was like
or something.
It was like layers of glass.
because it didn't shatter like glass, but
Yeah.
like
It's
it
probably
broke.
tempered.
Yeah, maybe it was tempered glass, maybe. Yeah, and at the end they were just like, this guy got so close, he was just like hammering and hammering, and then it just like the top cracked, and they just like pried it out, and one guy just like grabbed it and like ran away. It was like so weird. And then they were like,
Weird.
okay, I guess it's over. It's kind of anticlimactic, I guess. But
People are weird.
they set them up in one in New York, one in Chicago.
so it was
Oh,
multiple.
so it was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Interesting.
cool idea.
Guerrilla marketing. is what we called it.
Well, I told you about the guy.
Non-conventional marketing.
Yeah.
And I told you about the guy that I read. Well, I saw a video and then I also read an article. It was like kind of a tandem thing about the guy who was tasked with marketing this new like investment app. And he was like, they hired him and he's like, I had like little to no experience. He's like, but they gave me, you know, whatever amount of money, which was a lot for him, obviously. So he like took $1,000 and bought a bunch of boxes of ping pong balls with the company logo on it. And then he would do these videos where he'd like be riding a skateboard through a college campus, and he just like dropped the box, and the ping pong balls would just go everywhere, and people would immediately stop what they're doing and like start to try and help him, but then he would just walk off.
You just dip out.
And so the people were just like, so
What?
they kept the ping pong balls, and not only to mention that there was like a bunch on the ground, so the people obviously kept walking by and grabbing them, but he said it was like they like doubled their usage over the span of like a day, because people would pick up the ping pong ball and they'd go, "What's this?
What is this?"
And they'd at least download it to see what it is, and then like some people, like 10% or 15% would stay. But I was like, such an interesting marketing.
And whether or not it has anything to do with the app is like null, because you just want to develop interest.
Isn't that
in the
crazy?
thing.
So weird.
I feel like part of negative Nelly over here.
Give it to us.
I feel
Go
like
ahead.
in today's world, if that happened, everyone would be like, I'm not touching that. You know?
You mean
It's
in
not
a
mine.
COVID society?
Yes.
I think you'd be
I
surprised.
think people are
Maybe.
overcorrecting.
I think I went out for Halloween for a bachelorette party, and I was stunned.
Yeah.
yeah, if you
at
think
how little
people
COVID
are
seemed to
worried, go
exist.
downtown
I was
on a
like-
Saturday. You would be horrified
Oh my
at what
gosh.
happens down there.
We were posted up, had a church event on Sunday because it was Halloween, and we were giving out candy to kids,
Yeah,
just like
I
in the
wasn't out
neighborhood.
partying downtown. I was
no,
at a church
me
event.
neither. Yeah, we were both at
near
a
the
church
bars.
event. But I was just so surprised, like, because we did the same event last year, and it was like, basically no kids last year trick or treating. This year, it was like they all got the memo, and we're like, okay, we're gonna show up at this time, and just like
Blood.
there must have been 100 kids that like in one like stretch of time that had gone by at one, like it's crazy.
I'm really terrified for Jordan's neighborhood during Christmas time this year, because I told
Christmas
you
Card Lane is where she.
Is
Or
she-
no, what's
Starlight
the
Circle?
Starlight
but Christmas
Circle.
Card Land is love that. We should maybe rebrand.
Christmas
No, the
Card Lane.
Christmas Card Lane is in Escondido, I think, or
Yeah.
Mira Mesa.
Well, she lives in Starlight Circle, and it's
Oh,
like
she does?
yes, her mom does. yeah. Well, not
Yeah,
for
it's
long.
rough.
Well,
She and
I don't know, John.
well, we'll see. You know, the wedding goes through. We'll see. And but she lives in Starlight Circle, and if you've heard of Starlight Circle, you know exactly what I'm talking
Yes.
about. But it's like just basically this neighborhood that goes hard, and I think it really has to do with the fact that it's like
It's a loop.
a
It's a
perfect
perfect loop.
loop.
Yeah.
So that's where people can kind of drive through, and that's where I think it kind of like gained
And I would
traction.
imagine all of the families just agree to do it every year.
So yeah, when we were kids,
When you move in, I think they like kind of
Yes.
contact
They have to
you. And
haze
they're
you.
like, hey.
Yes.
So listen, this is what we do.
when we were kids, there was always a rumor that if you moved into Starlight Circle, you had to like sign an HOA
Same with Pepper
agreement
Drive.
saying
We always thought
you
that about
will
Pepper Drive.
decorate. Obviously, that's not true, but that was
Are
like
you sure?
the lore when we were kids, because we had
Yeah.
a kid who lived there, a good friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, my parents had to sign. He moved there like midway
That's
into
so
our
funny.
our high school experience, and he's like, my parents had to sign something. Or no, it was elementary school. It wasn't high school, because he wasn't pulled
It's
that.
like high school. I'd be like, bro,
He's
no one
like, yeah,
cares.
dude, I'm serious. Dude, shut up.
So-
Shut up, dude. No one cares.
It's an insane thing where people
You
like
know,
and,
high school.
and I think it was only exacerbated by last year and COVID. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was even worse. So last year Jordan's a photographer, and so she would go like on a photo shoot, and by the time she got back, she would just come to my house because she's like, it will take me an hour and a half just to get to my house
From the street
Yeah.
to the house.
from the street. Mind you, the street was like, in its relation, it's like right down the road from a freeway, but it was like very close to the freeway one time. It was very far back.
Yeah.
Like almost to that bridge.
I remember this
you
from
crossed.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty close to where we
Yeah.
are.
I only went one time, and I remember one year it wasn't even people driving through. It was the entire cul-de-sac
people
was
walk.
like cut off,
Yeah.
so cars couldn't even come in, and it was everyone was walking, and it was like a sea
When
of
we were
people.
kids, we used to walk from here because like if you drove, you wouldn't find a parking spot until like so far down it wasn't even worth driving because it was like that was so crazy it was. But yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
I imagine, like you said, overcorrecting. I think it'll be busy this year, but not in the sense that it has in the last 2 years, because the last 2 years was all cars. There was not a lot of like walking around. But I think because COVID's coming back, I mean, not coming back, everyone's in person's coming back. I think it's going to be way worse just walking around. It's going to be awful.
Well, wasn't last year they didn't even have like at Balboa Park, they didn't even have lights. They didn't have their whole nativity set set up.
You know what? It kind of was.
Because remember we
weak,
went and we were like, oh, let's go see it. And we went and it was like the one reindeer.
Yeah, there was like a little display. At Balboa Park, they always have like a nativity situation. That was there.
No,
But-
it wasn't.
Yeah,
The whole thing
at the
wasn't
Oregon
there.
Pavilion right there. Mm-hmm. Pretty sure it was, but...
They normally have like little booths of like
If
little
you have
things.
if you have evidence that it was there or not there, please send it in to what the podcast at
need to know.
whatthepodcast.com.
DM our TikTok.
DM our TikTok and we will get to the bottom of this.
What a weird thing we're living through. That we're like, yeah, last year, you know,
It's like a blank
people
spot
weren't doing
almost.
stuff, and
Yes.
now this year people are doing stuff. Can you like compare that to anything
Yeah.
else in your entire life? Mind you,
No.
my life hasn't been that long, but like,
No, but that's
what a
crazy.
weird thing that we talk about every single day, like post-COVID, pre-COVID.
Yep.
I often do introspection on like what Mark COVID and that season of like no contact with anybody, in-person contact, has done on me. Mm-hmm. And I really still feel like I'm unraveling it a little bit.
Sure.
Because like going out and hanging out with friends, I love doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think before I was so conditioned to just hang out every night of the week that now something that's in the middle of the week, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I can make it. You know, where it's like before I was like, sure, yeah, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think something for me is like I'm way more conscious of like what this is going to be weird, but like what message I'm sending out into the world just by my actions. Because I feel like a lot of like, you know, I'm sick of like wearing masks, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to wear masks anymore. I don't want to wear in public. But if someone was like, do you like, what do you think about wearing masks? I wouldn't be like, yeah, burn it. Like, who cares? Who needs it? Like,
You're not
because I feel,
anti-masker.
yes, because now it's a sentiment, right? Like, oh, I'm anti against wearing masks. Oh, I'm for wearing masks.
Like, no, I'm not against it. I'm just sick of wearing
Like, I don't want to do it, but if you
Yeah.
like, if I was asked to do it, I would.
Yeah.
And that's just stuff that developed over the past year and a half, like these like sentiments and like even the way we talk about things is like so I feel like I've become more conscious of that.
You
Like
can't have a cold.
You can't like
You're not allowed
oh
to
my
have a
gosh,
cold.
yeah. Like
you can't cough in public.
Nope.
'Cause then
You
it's like,
can't
I was
sniffle.
talking to you about this.
because then people go, "Oh, he's sick because he doesn't wear a mask in public. He probably has COVID."
Yes.
It's like no.
No, I'm okay.
Or maybe yes, I don't know. Like
I think it's going to take society a long time to recover
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
pandemic of being sick. You know what I'm saying? Like the idea that you're sick is like awful because before it was like you had a cold, you still went to stuff. And it was like,
Still
oh,
went to
I'm a little
work.
sick. Just like,
Yeah.
don't share my drink. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
whatever. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like, it was no big deal. But now when I am sick, I was just recently sick. And I was, everywhere I went, I was so self-conscious. And I was like, why am I self-conscious
and it's
about
like
being sick?
and technically speaking, like the sentiments behind, oh well, don't be around like people with immunocompromised people, older
Yeah.
people when you have COVID, because then they could get it and potentially die. Right?
Yeah.
Is the idea that can still happen with a cold or a flu? You could still
Yeah.
pass a common cold on to an
And
older person.
now I think
they
more
could get
people,
sick and pass away. Like
more people are realizing that because when flu season comes, we're like, it's flu season. People can die from the flu. I think more people now are like, oh yeah, that's true. Like if COVID can do this, then
but
the
it was
flu
always
can too.
true, right? Like technically speaking
Yeah.
now. So it's like, okay, what does that say about me? You know what? Like all of that is, I feel like what I'm dealing with.
I know exactly
lately.
what
you
you're
know
saying.
what I'm talking about.
Yes, and
like,
it's so hard to like communicate because if you go too hard on, like, there's no good way without looking like an anti-vaxxer or like
Masker
looking like
vaxxer.
both. Like
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a hard conversation to have because in the society right now we're pinning people on one or the other. There is no
and it's like
medium.
I trust the scientists. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
like I trust doctors. It's like, well, yeah, but no. Like, there's a lot of doctors. They're not all on the same page.
Doctors are straight up giving lobotomies like 40 years ago.
that's
So
what I
just
was
chill
like,
out.
Trust the science.
I don't think that's
So-
happening, but you're like, yes, the idea of trusting
then
the science.
For me to be like, well, actually, no, is now I'm, anti-science. I'm
yeah.
anti-vaxxer.
So we saw.
Which I'm not. Can you cut to my camera really quick? I definitely recommend getting any vaccine for COVID. Like, when the boosters come out, get it. Like, just get them. Like, who cares? But
Ryan's like, I need that on the record.
Thanks to our sponsors.
also on the record,
FDA.
like, I know nothing about what's
Like a
going on.
sponsor.
Yeah.
Like, I know nothing about what vaccines are in development. Like, I hear it on the news and I hear it on, whatever. But
well,
Did you get your flu shot yet?
I haven't gotten my flu shot yet.
Here's what I'll say. Here's
for any
my
reason.
official
'Cause I'm
stance
busy.
on masks going forward.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
horse's mouth.
tired of carrying a mask with me.
Yeah.
I will put one on
Yeah.
if you want me to wear one in the store for sure.
I hate when I
But I
forget
will
one.
not stress over whether or not I left home with a mask or not, unless I'm going to the airport, because obviously
Yeah.
the airport's like it is. And
Yeah.
even last time I went to the airport, I got one from the front desk. But
Yeah.
Airports, I've traveled a lot through COVID. Sorry, society.
No,
wow,
we
you're
have
canceled.
two.
Canceled.
We have two.
Oh, so
But
you
even,
probably don't
like-
believe in science, do you?
You're
I don't believe in a lot of
anti-vaxxer.
things.
Dang.
But I was like
Got her.
traveling when it was like nobody was traveling.
Yeah.
Which was the best. The planes were the cleanest. I had a whole row. I had a row in front of me
Sure.
and behind me. It was amazing. They gave me extra food.
Wow.
I loved it. They gave me
gave
a
you
Yeah,
food?
they were. I loved it. It was the best. And they were like really trying to get you to come back. They were
Yeah.
offering you all these deals because they're like,
Like, please,
need
they were
you.
cheap.
Yes.
Flights were really cheap.
Yeah.
Well,
Right?
it
But-
brings up a good point because I'm curious. It's not there's no right answer in all this, but a lot of companies, including Southwest, are kind of going back on the mandated vaccine for their
Yeah.
employees because literally people weren't like. First of all, we're in a crisis where no one wants to get a job right now. Like the
Yeah.
hiring, like everyone's hiring, but no one's actually
no one's applying. Yeah.
and also their current employees are now they left because of the
Quitting.
mandate and they reversed it.
Yeah.
So I wonder like if we'll see a revolution of that switching back where right now companies are hot on requiring the vaccine, which if you ask me, I got the vaccine and
Yeah.
I'll get the booster and all that. But they're like, you have to have it. And California, I think, even has like legislation on this, right? If you're a company over 200 employees, I
Yes.
think you have to
Yes,
mandate
it's
it.
150.
Which, yeah, and so they're switching back the other way. I wonder, do you think that's on the horizon for other companies, or do you think they're going to like stand their ground and stick with this mandated vaccine?
I feel like I have an interesting perspective on the vaccine because I got it out of peer pressure to get it.
Really?
Yeah, so I got it because I was really getting pushed by like coworkers and my boss, and not that they were like saying like, Annie, if you don't get it, you're gonna get fired. But it was
Yeah.
like I would be in the middle of an appointment and a center that gave out vaccines was like it's across the street from where I work, and my boss would come in and interrupt the appointment to be like, they have 4 more vaccines. Do you want to go get it?
And you're like,
And I'm like standing
but-
like in a little dressing room with a random woman, and then my
and
boss
everyone's like,
staring at
are
me,
you
and I'm
gonna
like,
get it?
You're like, not today.
Yeah, and so for me, it was when I got it, I'm fully vaccinated.
Sure.
And I'll be real, after I got my first dose, I kind of regretted it. And not in the sense that, like, I didn't believe in it and I wasn't
Sure.
going to get it. But it was like
It came out
I'm
fast.
fear-based.
It's
Yeah,
fast.
I'm doing this because I was kind of like
got bullied into it.
Yeah, funneled into the crowd. Mm-hmm. And then now I'm like, I'm glad I'm fully vaccinated.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Did my vaccination card get destroyed because I accidentally put my wallet through the wash? Yes, but I hear that I can get a new one.
And you
Have I
can
done it yet?
You can
So I'm
But I'm
told.
vaccinated.
you can go online
So
and you
I'm
put in your
told you
info and
can
you have a
get a new
QR
one.
code.
Look at that.
I have a
Look
QR
at
code.
Technology.
So
I
interesting.
think I don't have to apologize to you, but I'm going to apologize to you
thanks.
because I found myself in that camp of like, why aren't you getting it? Like, you can get it.
Yeah.
It's available. Like, especially with some of my coworkers and like just people in general, maybe family members, but like, it seemed like to me that was like the end
Yeah.
of COVID as
Well,
like
that was the promise,
as
right?
a planner and as a like I want to just done with it. Like what do you mean you're not getting it? Like,
don't you want this to be done?
come on. Like, as long as everybody gets it, like, we're good. Like, just go get it. Like,
Right, yeah.
So, sorry.
I similar to you.
If the sentiment,
appreciate it,
yeah. I mean, not that I bullied you specifically,
You
but
bullied
like,
me on other things, but
Yeah.
not that.
I think that's where maybe the mindset goes. Yeah, I'll bully you all day long, and I won't apologize. But
I won't apologize.
that's
But
for
I'm
other
sorry
stuff.
about that.
This moment,
Sorry.
I had a similar kind of thought process. I got it. I didn't feel like super pressured, but it took me a while to get it. I mean, I could have gotten it way earlier than what I did. And I think I had to like get there mentally. Cause again, I was doing this thing where I was like, I know I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
Sure.
Like I believe in vaccines. Like I do. But at the same time, I'm like, the idea that like we're kind of being pressured into it, and like there's a lot of like, you know, kind of everyone's
Stuff
like, you have to get it. And then this was right on the cusp of the news being like, if, you know, well, actually, I think back when I got it, it was still in the stages where like, you could get it and people were like kind of waiting to get it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty like you should get it, you have to get
like
it.
the beginning
kind
of this
thing.
year.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think I had to get there. And again, I know I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I get the flu vaccine every year.
Sure.
And I was
for
fully
me,
vaccinated
it's
as a kid.
so easy to be like, I don't know what's in it. I don't care. Like, when you go to the doctor and get antibiotics,
Yeah.
what
I don't
the
know
hell
what a
does that
biotic
mean?
is.
I don't know what that means, but I'll
It's
get it
true.
because it's supposed to make me better.
And let me tell you, I think the thought process that sold me, which is gonna make me sound insane,
Let's hear it.
is that
If they
I saw a
listen to this podcast,
comedian.
they already know you're insane.
Oh,
True.
they know.
Yeah, they already know where I'm at. It was Bill Burr.
Classic.
No way it was Bill Burr.
Bill
And
Burr.
he-
We're
and
texting him
he-
and letting him know.
And he was like obviously doing like a bit. But the line of logic was like, okay, now I feel comfortable getting it. You know? 'Cause I think the problem was I was stuck at home and I was reading all these articles and
Taking
watching
it
all
too
these
seriously.
videos, and I was like, why is the government making us getting it? You know what I'm saying? And then Bill Burr's bit was like, why would the government like put a tracker or put some sort of like
Why would they
thing
poison?
Yep.
into the people that are willingly getting it? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
And he was like, does that mean like let's just say they are trying to kill us, which they're not. Like they're going to kill off the majority of the population that actually do what they say.
The government says.
Versus like these anti-vaxxers who are like insane. They want to be left with these insane people. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
He calls them Fonzies, right?
Yes, yes.
All their leather jackets and they're
Oh my
kicking the
gosh.
jukebox and they're like, they
Well-
don't play by the rules.
Yeah, and then I thought a little bit further because the next line of logic was fertility, because everyone's like, you know, like whatever, like if it might make you infertile, whatever. And then I thought this is super extreme, and I know it's super extreme. I get it now.
Let's hear it.
But I thought, do I want to be like the 1 in 1,000 of people that can have kids when no one else can
So
because of
Handmaid's
this
Tale?
vaccine?
Handmaid's
You know what I'm
Tale.
saying? No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't.
Like, you don't want to
if-
be a breeder?
if this
Have you-
vaccine
have you watched
makes
Handmaid's
you
Tale?
infertile, I do not want to be on the opposite side of it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, if everybody's infertile, I don't want to be fertile.
You know what I'm saying, though? And maybe that's a weird mindset, but that just means to me sounds so much
That is
more
literally-
terrifying.
You know what it makes you sound like? Sheep.
I know. I'm a sheeple. I
Hey.
know. I get
I'm a
it.
sheeple.
Yeah, that's like I kept saying on
sheepers.
Halloween. I was like sheeple.
Wake up, sheeple.
But yeah, I
This
don't know.
is and to the credit of you and to all of us here is like I kind of opened with is like nobody asked for this. Nobody knew this was coming.
Yeah.
You know, to be like this economic political climate that we're in, like nobody's prepped for that kind of thing.
And I think
You
there's
know?
so much good that's coming out of it. I mean, in the long run, the like catastrophe and tragedy that was COVID
Yeah.
will be in history books.
Oh yeah.
But I look on TikTok and kind of what we were talking about earlier is like, what's this next season bringing in, you know, are you Christmas?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it hopeful and all this stuff? Well, I look at TikTok and not like every 3 videos, which maybe this says something about me and my For You page.
Yeah, this is definitely designed for you, but go
Like,
ahead.
okay, Annie. But it's like people, they're like the Bo Burnham, that funny feeling
Yes.
clip. And then it's talking about basically the signs of seasonal depression.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I remember in high school, one of my teachers was talking about this article they had read about our generation is the most open about mental health. And it is through humor on like
Yep.
online. And I think that through COVID, it has kind of shifted from like, yes, there's some humor aspects, but there's also such a real conversation about mental health. And like the majority of my friends, myself included, started going to therapy and seeking after therapy in COVID. And because it was like, hey, I have this time. This
It's not this young new age thing of like, oh, go to therapy anymore. It's like, no, this is something that everyone has dealt with now in the past year.
Yeah.
Like everybody. Yeah.
Which I recently downloaded BetterHelp, and I am determined to get them to sponsor all of our podcasts.
So if you're saying this, better.
So BetterHelp,
BetterHelp.
if you're saying this, I already said your name 2 times.
Nice.
Please sponsor us.
On my page right now,
That
it's
was
been
BetterHelp.
how does the
Slash
tune
Annie.
go?
Help.
Help or health?
Help. Like
Better help.
Better help. I'm gonna help you better.
How does it go? The healing the world. How does that one go?
Healing the world with comedy.
With comedy. That's been my TikTok. Is
Yeah.
that sound?
Know what I've gotta
I
do.
only watched it one time. The special.
Inside?
Yeah. And I was very
Can you talk
tired
on
when
the
I
mic a
watched
little
it.
more?
Special
so-
was
A little,
awesome.
off the mic.
Oh, my headset has been very loud this entire time.
Okay, well, we can turn that down. Don't worry.
little headphone situation.
Yes.
Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Cool.
Well, we'll be tracking it forever. The long-term
yeah.
effects of COVID, what the year brought, and
I think it was great. I think it was a good
yeah, it was a great time.
check for me.
Oh yeah,
A
it was a
good
blast.
age.
No,
Time.
mental health wise, it was a good like.
I gotta give you. I just gotta
I knew
blast
it.
you.
It was like a good, kind of checkpoint to stop,
Yeah.
and then like kind of reflect and realize because again, even my social situation, like I was talking about earlier, I didn't even realize how much I was doing until I literally couldn't.
Scaled back.
And then having to go back out into the world again, I'm like, I don't even know how I got to that social like threshold. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Where I was just doing stuff nonstop, and it just never. It was like normal for me. It was weird.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't really remember when everything like shut down and being stuck at home because we like jumped right into directing and choreographing a show through over Zoom. So I feel like I
Yeah, that
never
was kind of a-
got that time to like relax
And I
because I
missed
was
out.
literally choreographing an entire show over Zoom and trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
The
but
fact that you
remember
guys
when
did that is
the show got
insane.
canceled though?
Yeah.
Remember that?
But that was when people started going out a little bit more.
What?
Like slowly.
there was a long time we were in quarantine. How
I
long
know.
was this show going on?
Well, we did Zoom stuff
it
for
wasn't.
that
It
for
was like-
3
it was the fir-
months. Yes,
no.
3 months.
No.
From auditions. Literally, our auditions were supposed to be in person. That was the night everything shut down.
Oh
Yeah.
It was the week before. So we were like, let's do it over Zoom.
We trailed on for like a month, honey. Then the show got
it felt
canceled.
like so
we
long.
we were doing online classes, but it
Yeah.
wasn't the show.
It was interesting because I
Yep.
remember you started doing Twitch stuff, which I watched a little bit of. Like we were all kind of just figuring out what we could do in the shutdown.
It just felt like the thing to do. Like I think just because so many people were just jumping to that, like
Yeah.
celebrities, that is,
Yeah.
people that actually were making money off of all of that nonsense.
I remember when I saw the first like commercial on TV that had incorporated COVID and masks and all this stuff.
So
And I
bizarre.
remember being like, "Oh, this is gonna be big."
Yep.
Like,
It's like we're living in a simulation right now. This is
and when
Hey.
Jimmy Fallon did all of his at-home stuff.
Yeah, all of them.
And
so
Ellen.
stupid.
And Seth
Yep.
Meyers made the
Ellen.
mistake of
And
like
Ellen got
pausing.
canceled in the pandemic. Who knew?
I don't think one.
Oh, I think a lot of people knew and just was chill about it.
Who do you think did it best
I think Jimmy Fallon
at home
did it
online?
best.
Do you think so?
I feel like he was kind of dry.
I'm just not a big Jimmy Fallon fan, anyway, so it doesn't. Maybe I'm a bad.
I thought he
Who
did
do you
okay.
think?
I just thought it was just like
I thought it
all
was
of
all
the
bad.
late night hosts.
You know,
Even I
realize-
like not James Corden. What's his name? Stephen Colbert. I like
Oh,
Stephen
yeah.
Colbert. He dropped the ball. I like.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Seth
I think-
Meyers
Seth
was
Meyers,
so awkward.
It was
His
so awkward.
so-
He just filmed
Yes.
it the way he would.
He
And
would
he's
like
still doing it?
pause for like laughter, and
He's
it'd be
doing
like,
it the same way.
silent.
it was just SNL.
The British guy. What's his name?
James Corden.
No, the other one. The smart one.
James Oliver or something
Trevor
like that.
Noah.
John Oliver.
Oh, John
Oh,
Oliver.
Trevor
Trevor
Noah.
Noah did a good job
John
too.
Oliver nailed it for me.
Yeah.
He was like doing his show from the white void.
It was funny. 'cause
I just want to point out there, I know that Trevor Noah is from South Africa and not
Very nice. Good job. Good job.
just want that to be on the record.
Nice
Good job.
save. Nice save.
I know the difference.
He has an accent though, which is
But yeah.
Two things
South
in that whole
African.
situation. I realized two things.
it tracks.
I knew that these hosts were famous, but like seeing Jimmy Fallon's house
Oh yeah.
was
So
like,
stupid.
what? This guy is
Stupid rich.
insanely
Yeah.
rich.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Again, I knew that. Like,
and he would do walks on his neighborhood, and you'd see all his neighbors' houses,
Yeah.
and you're like, what?
Yep.
like logic tells me like yes, obviously he's really rich, but like then to see that, and not all of them, but mainly Jimmy, because Jimmy had this weird like treehouse.
Yeah,
I don't know
his,
if
like,
it was
a
a guest
playroom.
house.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
It's like a playroom in his house that has a slide that goes down to his like living room.
You know how you have
So
a playroom over
insane.
your living room for your
yeah,
kids.
and then also the second thing was how unprepared and slow TV is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it took
So
them forever
stupid.
to figure out a remote situation, which I'm like, I realized we were
Yeah.
all
Such an
kind of flying.
archaic like
You know?
weirdness. Yeah.
And you would think
weird.
that these are the, the people
This is
at the
the entertainment
forefront of
industry.
entertainment.
I
You
thought
know?
SNL dropped the ball. I thought their
Yeah.
COVID stuff was crap,
The best one
Yeah.
was Taylor Swift. Her,
garbage.
the folklore.
Took her the whole year. Where was she?
What do you mean?
Took her the whole year. Where was she?
Writing songs in,
And again, I know
on a
nobody,
lake.
nobody could have anticipated that like to happen, and but
You know
I'm
what?
like,
Maybe they
this
should've.
is TV. You know what I'm saying? This is the entertainment industry, and they can't figure out a way to like send them a higher quality camera or send somebody to set up something. Think
Yeah,
about
but
How
what is
many
better.
online like people, YouTube personalities, Twitch personalities, live stream people that just thrived?
Oh,
Think
yeah,
about
that's
like
true.
Or like John Krasinski, who set it up himself in his
Oh,
like
Good News
fake,
Network.
his like
Yes.
fake talk show
Yes.
ended up blowing
That was
up.
great.
That was so
And then
cool.
he sold
that
out.
confirmed to me that
Asshole.
he's a great guy.
Yeah.
John Krasinski.
So cool.
And then he sold it.
He sold it.
He sold it. Yeah, he sold the show.
Did
You
he?
know that?
Nice.
He sold the rights to
He sold
Good
that
News
and
Network,
he sold
and they were
Quiet
gonna make
Place.
it like an actual TV show.
And
I don't
now,
know if they still
now they
are.
probably aren't.
That-
Genius. He's probably like, nah,
Art
it's
reflects
over.
life, reflects art. Like he
Dang.
Wow.
became the thing. I don't know. Whatever.
Maybe nah, I can't defend him. I mean, listen, it's money. Money's money, right? But I feel
No,
like
of course.
I would
Would
hope
I
that
sell
the
out?
intention.
Absolutely.
What I would hope that the
In a minute.
intention of
Hey.
How
selling
much do you
it.
want for this
Albright Con?
network?
It's true.
Yeah.
Come
I would hope that the intention of selling it was that something bigger would become of it, but I can't.
Yeah.
say
I think
that's
a lot
the
of times
thought
they sell
process.
it knowing it's gonna die. Like I think
Good
a lot
for
of
him.
times
Get the paycheck and
they'll
dip
sell
out.
something knowing that it's just for a matter of they have a
Trademarked all
similar
that stuff.
idea.
I'm just thinking about the idea that he like secured the rights to it and then sold the rights.
goofy.
Now I'm like
How
fully
goofy.
backtracking on what I thought.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Dang.
Well,
Jeez.
look, let's make it a happy thing here. So we're talking about,
Yeah.
the future, right?
Yeah, it's true.
The hype, the year
You
of the
don't wanna
hype
talk
house is
about-
upon us.
Yes.
Disposing
almost
of
upon
body
us.
again.
Well, I mean, we could.
Let's make it
Anyone
happy.
wanna
That's
revise
not
Sarah,
just
can
a
we talk
that's
about
not
that?
just a Halloween conversation. That is a year-round
Every
conversation.
day.
Anyone want to revise
Have either
their
of
answer on
you-
how to hide a body?
Have
Yeah.
either
Weeks
of
ago.
you watched clickbait?
Yes.
No.
We
Of course
just
I
started
I
watched
watched
it.
the first 30 minutes of it and I stopped myself so I could watch it with Ryan. We watched the first 2 episodes. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm just going
No
to say
spoilers
that
here.
everyone
but
should
a
watch
definite
it.
watch.
It was so good.
Tis the season, Ryan. What are we
Well,
want to end on a happy note?
tis the season of like what is going to be the road to the hype house. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about like reinventing the norm. What is it?
If
like
you
a
want to
dual
if you
thing,
want
right?
to
We're gonna
sponsor
have a
us,
marketing
anybody
team.
listening,
Or just like what is keeping in mind all of the negatives that is in
our
the
spaces.
forefront in the space.
Yeah.
How are we going to overcome? This is part podcast, part
I was gonna say,
planning
this is
meeting,
kind of a dual
vision
situation,
casting.
too, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
So do you
of
guys
course.
want to? I know one big thing for kind of social media stars is to get into boxing. So why don't you
Oh,
two
stop.
get into
on.
the
Oh
boxing
my God, are you
ring?
following this iDubbbz thing? Oh, I love this guy. Okay, iDubbbz is this YouTube personality, and he did these like content cop videos where he'd basically just make like 20-minute rants exposing people. And he's like trying to, you know what? I'm going to date myself too much.
Oh,
Go ahead.
We're going to leave it there.
No, you're
What?
not. You're not going to date
Boxing and YouTubers. No, it's good.
What? It's
good.
still going on.
Yeah, no, it's That's it.
People still make TikToks about.
Yeah, like Logan Paul's still
Yes.
fighting people.
Yes.
Is
Do we want to be like Logan
Is
Paul?
YouTube dead?
No.
Like, is that
No.
truly?
No.
No. Like,
Yeah.
like realistically speaking, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's dead.
I don't because of Emma Chamberlain.
Yeah,
YouTube is
she's
not
great.
dead because of her.
There is a big presence on
Hate that,
YouTube, but like,
I'm gonna let that one just go right by.
But like I went.
where
so,
is the culture going? Where is society going? Is it? Am I just obsessed with like media that I understand?
Here's where I think YouTube is
Attention
going.
spans,
Okay.
maybe.
And I'm going to say something. Attention span for sure, but I think there will always be a market for TikTok type of
Short
apps.
form
Yeah.
media.
But I think if you look at some of the stuff, I mean, I don't watch everything, of course, and I'm like my corner of YouTube is different than yours. But I'm going to make a wild assumption, and hopefully I'm correct. I think it's going to go to long form, high quality videos on YouTube. Shane Dawson does it the best, in
His-
my opinion.
His videos have been the highest quality for years.
Yes, and he gets 20 million
Yeah.
views per video.
They're so good.
I think
Pretty epic.
that's where it's going. I think people like Shane Dawson are going to start rising to the top, and all these other content creators are going to either have to meet the quality or find a new
Which
area of the
I
corner,
think-
corner of the world. You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
people aren't going to do that because of attention spans. They're going to just keep watching Shane.
I'm not talking about TikTok's an entirely different corner. I'm talking about YouTube itself. The way that you'll be successful on YouTube is long form,
So,
high quality.
I know what you
content.
mean, but
YouTube
then
becomes.
if people aren't going to want to take that time to edit, and like
Well, then they won't become.
well, then they won't succeed.
they won't
Exactly.
succeed on YouTube.
exactly.
But the
What-
ones that do will rise to the top.
I think so.
Is what you're saying.
So the question is, will there be more? Are people still going to do it?
I think even like the vast majority of YouTubers in the past have transitioned to podcasts.
Yeah.
I think that
Longer
lack
form.
of attention, that lack of attention is just transferring over to a podcast setting where that they can be listening to your conversation or your YouTube video
Yeah.
and have it, because do you remember the days of YouTube where you couldn't like minimize the page, you couldn't exit out of
Yes.
it, you had to have it full screen on your
Yep.
page for it to play, and then they developed
It's
it
true.
where you could minimize it and be doing something completely different and still be playing it.
Yep.
I think that was the early transition into podcasts because it was, oh, you guys don't actually care about watching this
You
anymore.
can just listen.
You just want it here.
Yeah.
Well, and what is that? That's long form, high quality content. That's like, in depth conversation. That's, these podcast sets are not anything to shake your head at. Like they make these
like
insane
basically
podcast
television.
sets.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a talk show.
So how? Yeah, I mean, like maybe it is just a culture thing. Like, so what sets apart a really well-made YouTube show from like conventional television?
Next to nothing.
Next to nothing, right?
Next to
I
nothing.
think we will see the death of television in our time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I think it's going
I
to be
really
like
do.
radio.
I don't think it's going to be as quick as you think, but I think we'll see it in our lifetime.
In cable.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
think about it, like let's fully replace cable, right? Now sports is the one thing I think keeping cable alive in
News.
a lot of
Sports
ways.
is on,
And
sports
news.
is on
But-
YouTube TV.
Local-
But how much
local
news? How
news.
much local news can you just log on and has a social
It
media?
has an
account?
app, and I can watch KSI on
also
my
couldn't
app right
tell you.
now.
I have
The
to.
last
I
time I
do
looked at
like.
local
I do
news.
like watching news on TV though.
You
I like it
can
too.
if
I
through the
honestly-
YouTube app on your TV.
Along with TV, the death of the 24-hour news cycle. I hope.
Oh, yeah.
Like just like
Yeah.
either that or it's just the same thing but packaged differently because a notification every 20 minutes is the same as like a news story
I think that
on the news.
the
think you'll
world
see it.
needs to keep that kind of stuff, like 24-hour news,
Why?
for the people who revolt against phones.
Yeah, but that crowd
I
like
think
that
it's
kind of
smaller.
stuff.
so
That crowd's
tiny,
getting
that
like
margin.
smaller and smaller every year. With every new generation, there's less of a need for
There's
TV.
a new iPhone
I feel
every
like
single year and that's not like
for
on
cable-
accident. It's not
Yeah.
like the anomaly. Like
For cable wise, I feel like cable will never actually disappear because it's going to end up being way cheaper than all of these subscriptions that you're going to have
It's
to
not
have.
true.
But I think that's what's going to happen. I think
they'll centralize
DirecTV
the
is gonna
subscriptions.
But
Yeah.
then it's just
DirecTV
cable
subs-
again.
But that you're paying
Yes,
for cable.
but it's
now,
not cable.
But now it's not just on public access or like on like a cable network.
It's on
like,
the internet.
Because think about how many creators there are like making straight to Netflix shows now that Netflix is just buying them up, and then the whole catalog's there. They can rehash old stuff. They can buy, IPs. They can.
It's almost like charter schools and private schools, right?
Yeah.
Where you have this like public school system, and then more and more people are starting to go to like the private schools and the charter schools because there's just more possibilities, and they can spend their money differently, and so people are starting to funnel into that. And I think we're gonna see that in every aspect. I mean, look at how fast I feel like we don't have the telegraph anymore. It was probably an easy means of communication, and then we started evolving.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I think you'll
true.
see something like cable.
Fax
but
machine.
Cable itself, like TV, conventional TV, we will see the death of it.
I think we're at least 2 generations away because I think our parents are getting hipper to it. I think their parents definitely will never transition to watching stuff on YouTube,
Yeah, no.
But I think, by the time we're old,
Yeah.
it'll
Forget
be like,
it. Cable
"Put on
will be gone."
Netflix."
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, Grandma,
Or-
Netflix.
Wi-Fi will be like a basic human right. At
Or
some
it'll
point,
be-
like the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Or it'll be opposite because we'll grow up and teach our,
basic
like,
human right.
tell our children, like, this is YouTube, and it'll just keep going because of our generation being so into social media.
Yeah.
Then
maybe.
it'll stay. I don't know. It could go either way.
It
I
really
mean, that's my
depends.
opinion. Obviously,
It could go either way. Is the
world-
thing because
the world
vinyl is still
surprises me
around.
every year.
That's true.
So who knows? Maybe TV will make an extraordinary comeback, and I'm like, oh my gosh!
Or it just
shoot,
becomes
cable.
this archaic like thing we appreciate because
Yeah.
of the longevity of it.
Yep.
Like
Well,
the
I would-
wax cylinder.
What the heck is that?
It preceded what's it called? Vinyl. Before vinyl, they had these wax cylinders that you'd put on
Oh, that's right.
yeah, it was just like this thing that would spin and the little needle would go on it.
Yeah.
And it'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this is a song.
Well, that's like the. Wait, was it actually wax?
Yeah, it was a wax cylinder.
Because I'm thinking of like the music boxes that like have the little metal like pricks.
No, because it would heat it up. No, this wax cylinder, it heated up, and then that's how a needle would etch in the sound waves, and then they could play it back on a
Okay, so it's like how they
what do you call
made it.
phonograph.
Got it.
Equal
Yeah.
regress. You know how everyone's into like tapes and vinyl. You think we'll ever go back
That's
to
so. That's what I'm
wax
saying.
cylinders?
So maybe TV
I don't think so.
will be the next vinyl.
I think cassette.
It's only around because and really and film too. Like going
film
to the
has fully-
going to the movies. I'm saying. Like film. The
Yeah,
film
yeah.
industry I think is already kind of that. Like
Yeah.
going to the movie
I
theaters.
love going to the movies.
Me
seeing
too.
sitting down for 2.5 hours and watching this epic
On a huge
in the theaters on a
screen.
huge screen is so archaic. Really, when you boil down like how many movies we could watch right now on Netflix.
Or
And we
HBO
do every week,
Max.
really.
Well, and then I have like this idea too, right?
Go
Is
ahead.
I think that we are, as a generation and just like future generations, are going to become more isolated. They're going to the movies, and I think a result of that is like these mass shootings. Like I was thinking about this, is like the like very real threat, which was there when we were in high school, but like of going to high school and knowing that it has become commonplace almost that there are school shootings
Here in America.
here in America.
Awful.
Here in America.
Yes.
It's
For our
something we're
global
dealing with.
You've
audience.
been on a
Trying to
razor
figure it
edge
out.
all
I'm sure
episode.
you know.
You've been on a razor's edge the whole time.
I know. I'm a little bit proud and a little bit unsure.
Funny
Annie,
is
are you
no
okay?
one,
You
no
don't
one
wanna get
is
canceled?
more terrified about it than you. You keep correcting yourself, and I was like, I wasn't even thinking
That's
that. But
very
okay.
mature and brave of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thanks.
Wow.
But back to school shootings.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Anyways, back to
But like I think
the
we're
death
gonna
of the high
see.
school.
Yeah, I think we honestly are gonna see the option of if you don't want to risk your life,
Go
you
to
can
online school.
continue
Yes.
to do online school, and
Yep.
then you're gonna have this generation. If you're spending more time on the internet, you're gonna see almost that upbringing of like another rise or wave of YouTube
Yep.
of
Yeah.
these like going back to these classics because
I saw this thing that was like, did we talk about it on here maybe? I'm going to say it and then correct me if I'm not bringing new stuff to the
I
table.
will.
It was like somebody was filming their kid, their like 1 or 2 year old, and the kid was like, Mom, make sure to tell them to like and subscribe.
what?
And the mom was like, what are you talking about? Like this kid watches so much internet
yikes.
content that
Yep.
You know
that the
what?
kid didn't even know what it meant. Was like, oh, I'm being filmed. Oh, like and subscribe.
I love
What
that.
are you talking about, kid?
like,
This is going to
did you like and
grandma.
subscribe?
And he's like, yeah, did grandma like and subscribe? Did she set
You know what?
notifications?
That's so true. Thinking about that, I was a nanny at one point, and like I've nannied for a long time, and those kids watched YouTube religiously.
Yes.
Like they were taking in, and it would be like, hey, put on those like tractor videos, and it'd just be a compilation
Yep.
of random
Now,
videos of tractors.
Mind you, is this there is this camp of like phones bad, you know,
Yeah.
internet bad.
Like, when I have kids,
which is just
I'm never telling them to have it.
Like,
go to the
remember
iPad.
the old days when we just play outside until the street lights came on? It's like nobody knows what you're talking about, idiot. Like, shut up.
Is it?
But
man.
Yeah, and then we
Get
had
outta
true
here.
crime podcasts.
I think it's easy
Yep.
to fall into that category of like phone bad, internet bad for the kids, like make them play outside. But it's also like there's so
Phone
much
bad.
benefit
Outside good.
there. And to your point, like, oh, these kids that are not maybe going to conventional high school that will become YouTube sensations, like
Yeah.
Dang.
maybe they're better off. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
like if that's the way they learn, if that's the way they, you know, it's not like YouTube's not a career path.
Well,
Like,
yeah, you look at Hank Green, and I see him on TikTok. He's like transitioned a lot, but Crash Course with Hank and oh my gosh, what's the other one?
Yes.
John Green.
Yes.
Like that was a huge like schools use all of their information, and like I relied on Crash Course
Yeah.
to you know kind of give me a cliff notes of you know some war that I needed to write an essay
Yeah.
on. You know, like they had a whole door open, and I saw them talk at VidCon, which like they started VidCon. You know,
Yeah.
like they kind of opened this door for like the sensationalized YouTube.
Yeah.
And like almost the possibilities of like YouTube could be used in all these amazing
In every
ways.
single way. I mean, it's like the internet. Like everything's
Yeah.
on YouTube. You can
Yeah.
YouTube how to fix anything on your car
I had to
right
YouTube
now.
how to change the battery in my key, like
Yeah.
for my car
like
key.
something that we'd go, yeah, well, guess we'll never know this thing. Like and I trip out about the internet all the time we've talked about it before. Like just all of the information is there.
Okay, what's
Whatever you want.
crazier? I feel like we've talked about this,
Yes,
but
the internet or space.
the internet or space, and I will die on the side of the internet. It
Space is
makes
infinite.
No sense.
The internet
The
has the
universe
black
is
market.
expanding right now.
And then they're like, "But someone made the internet."
Outward
and I go,
and inward.
But how?
So
That's what I
it's-
don't get. Like, how did?
The universe is
is true.
expanding in every direction. It's getting bigger every single second.
But how do you airdrop me a picture? How does that work?
Do you realize that
I don't know.
airdrop exists here on Earth and that's it for billions of miles?
You don't know
Danny,
that.
think
No,
about
no,
this.
I know that.
Annie, think about this for a second. It would be difficult.
Okay.
It's
But
like
the internet could die. Like it could crash, and
It would take some time.
It would take some time.
But then
And when
how?
and
You
when
can do
global warming
nothing about
happens,
space.
when the ice caps melt and destroy
You
our
could-
country, the internet will be gone.
I feel like you literally
Space
could
will
cut every
shrug.
single
Space will just
cord
be like-
in the
Space will be
world.
like, "Yep, they had it coming."
They
Oh
did
my
it
gosh.
themselves.
So
to be
we
fair,
saw-
we tried to tell them.
We saw John Mulaney this week, and he had a bit where he was saying
Okay, whoa! Spoilers for John Mulaney's new tour.
Oh, no one's. Come on.
it
If
was
you're
a
watching this
bit.
and you're going to see John
when he
Mulaney on
was-
tour, spoilers ahead.
He was saying how he was like, why do people want to go to space? And he was like, there is a force keeping us on this planet. Why would you mess with that
He's
force?
like, if there's a force tying you somewhere, stay
Don't-
there.
Yeah, stay there.
As a side
That's
note,
funny.
this is something really small, but one of Olivia's friends, I think that went with you.
Bryn.
Yeah.
She posted about John Mulaney being like an up and comer comedian. And I was
No,
like,
no. She posted about her becoming an up-and-coming
No,
comedian.
it was
a
about
bit.
John Mulaney.
No, it was a bit.
Oh, it was?
She said, "Wow, congrats on your tour!
that
Can't wait
makes
to
more
see
sense.
where your career takes you."
I saw
Wait,
that.
He's a
wait,
gigantic
wait.
comedian.
He's
Let me
been around for like
see.
a long time. She totally got me, by the way. But
Hold
great
on.
bet.
An idiot.
What an idiot.
I fully read it wrong.
That's
Yeah, I
so
was like-
cringy.
I was like,
You totally
She
made me
put-
cringe.
It's
come on.
funny.
it makes more sense now that
You
you've
were
clarified that.
Oh yeah, you were very funny, a very promising newcomer to the comedy. No, I was right. You were very funny, John Mulaney, a
Go
very
ahead.
promising newcomer to the comedy game. Can't wait to see what you do next. Talking about herself.
About John Mulaney.
No,
It
talking
is
about
fully
herself.
about John
You
Mulaney.
guys are taking a funny joke,
No.
and you're dragging
Kenny,
it
what
through
do
the
you
mud
think?
right now.
You were very funny,
are
a
burning the
very
joke.
promising newcomer
Please
to the
don't let
comedy
Bryn see
game. Can't
this.
wait to see what you do next.
It's
It's
sarcasm.
clearly about John, for the record. You're trying to say it's about her, and it's definitely not about
It's
her.
written like it's about her. Because she
Play the
said, a
TikTok.
very
Stop.
promising newcomer. Can't wait to see what you do
About
next.
John Mulaney. The
You know
newcomer
what?
is
If we
like the
keep
bit
fighting
is like
this,
she's
the hype house
joking.
is never gonna happen.
Shut up.
For me, I read it that way because she's
Stop.
new. She's
No,
on the improv
that's
team.
not what this is about.
She's on the improv team at
Why
Biola,
would she
so she's
just say
starting
that?
in comedy.
What?
But that
No.
Because
It's
she's
a
never
joke.
seen him before.
By the way, the death of comedy. Episode
I
50.
know.
What the death of comedy.
what the death of comedy. Do you
Half is
understand what I'm
all
saying? I understand the bit, but that's
No.
definitely about John.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyway, moving on.
Gosh.
What kind of TikToks
I
did
just
we
wanna
first?
say-
Did we test this freaking switcher today?
Ooh.
I just want to put this
mad.
out there
She's
and
mad.
say
She is pissed.
What do you got to say, Ryan?
this is it. This is the last episode.
switcher doesn't work.
This is the last episode. Yeah, that should be the title.
What the last episode?
There it goes. Did it go?
Yes. It went.
Wow.
I've never seen you get so spirited over something like this, Cara. This is good for us.
Okay, that's
All right.
it. I
You
changed
think-
my mind. You and Cara fight.
You guys could box. I did
in.
fight
Cara,
Jordan
come
this
on.
weekend.
Yes, I was going to
so-
say that was the best part of Halloween was Ryan tackling
Was
Jordan.
Ryan
Well, it was really
fighting
Jordan
Mermaid
tackled
Man.
you first. Oh, that's true. It was
Jordan,
Ryan
for context,
and
Jordan
Mermaid Man.
dressed up as Ryan for Halloween.
Which was hilarious.
Yes. that's
That'll
so
probably
funny.
make the vlog, so I'll-
Don't
You'll
talk
see
about it too
it.
much.
Okay, here we go.
Keep it low.
Here we are. First one.
okay. Oh my god.
It's Lizzo, if you didn't know.
Lizzo is Yoda.
She was Yoda.
Loda or Yizzo.
Kieso.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Little cat.
Little cat. This cat looks fake. So happy. Gosh, the first time our cats made that face was when Dee was chasing a fly, like a couple flies around the house, and she'd kill them, and then she would like walk around
Gosh.
Oh, this is gonna be a
like
good
panting with her mouth open. Oh yeah, here we
Tell
are.
me- tell me this one roast John.
Watch
For the
it.
record,
Always check your kids' Halloween candy.
Go ahead.
Always check your kids' Halloween candy.
well, no comment.
Oh, here's the last one.
Hey,
How dare he
did
want
you check
safety
your bananas?
for children?
This person, I had to screen record this one because they wouldn't let me save it.
I forgot that was the thing.
Green light.
Run!
That was rough.
Yes.
Yes, there
Get
is.
her.
She got taken out
That
by
is
a
all.
dog.
That's all.
That's it. That's all you
Yeah,
got?
that's all I got today.
Wow.
John, can you switch back, please?
It's a real tame year. I mean, week. Sorry, not year.
Hey,
Wow.
let's hope it's a
Feels
tame
like
year.
a year.
Tamir.
2022,
Tame
year
year.
of the hype house.
Yes.
You think
If,
so?
if you're excited now, just wait till Albright Con. Details to come. 2023.
Yeah.
2023.
Yes.
Pretty excited about the hype house. Not gonna lie, you guys.
Hype house.
Work in my future.
A big turning point
Big turning point
for the Albright Entertainment brand.
If you're at AlbrightCon,
It's kind of exciting when you think about it. Like, no, think about it. The hype house is coming. Okay, is it a literal hype house? No, but like
it's like,
but our hype
emotionally,
house
you know what I'm
is
saying?
coming.
It's an emotional
Our
hype
house.
house.
It's an
An
emotional.
emotional hype
It's a
house.
mental hype house.
No, I want to say it's a physical hype house. And maybe it's not a house. Maybe it's like a hype office.
Oh.
Where we
Oh, hype
transition
office. I'm down for
into-
hype office. That'd be cool.
John always wanted to work in an office ever since he saw The Office.
He goes, can we get a water cooler?
He's like, "Can we be Dwight? I want to be Dwight."
I have nothing to say.
So rude. It's so mean. It's a great show.
It's a great
And I'm
show.
roasting you for liking a great show.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
He's like, yeah, no, I know.
No,
Remember when
that's
we
pretty
said that
normal. It's
Ryan
pretty
was a
on brand. It
bully?
wouldn't be
It's
what the
pretty funny.
podcast
Yeah.
if you were
Wouldn't
doing
be.
that, right?
True.
Oh, really? So you just like whatever shows that they put on NBC? How about you? How about you form your own opinions? We'll see you next week on What the Podcast.